Hello, good people. This is your guy, Mr. Educator, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker, coming back at you live once again from the Lone Star State with another edition of the Media Mike Speaks. All right, good people. One of my subscribers sent me this story. I've been following it, a little bit just to see what this is about. But this is very interesting, and we're going to talk about it. Now, this is Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland. I spent some time up there a long time ago. I think about over 20 years ago. So when they were filming The Wire. So, yeah, it looks like that. They may have improved it since then, but, yeah, it's Baltimore. But be that as it may, Marilyn Mosby, the young lady, as you saw in the thumbnail, Baltimore's top attorney, needs an attorney because a federal grand jury indicted her on 2 counts of perjury and making false statements on mortgage applications that she allegedly used toward the purchase of 2 vacation properties in Florida, according to a case unsealed Thursday. Mosby gained national prominence. If you don't know who she is, she filed the charges against the 6 officers who arrested 25-year-old Freddie Gray back in 2015, and he died while in police custody. So, and that's what led to all those protests. But despite that, none of the officers were eventually convicted on the charges. Now, this indictment alleges that she lied on federal loan applications, including one where she asserted she experienced adverse financial consequences in her position as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Really? Come on, Mosby. What financial? We'll get to all that. While prosecutors say her gross salary of nearly $250,000, over a quarter of $1,000,000, was never reduced in 2020. In fact, the indictment says Mosby's gross salary increased by nearly $10,000 between 2019 and 2020. Now, as a result of her relief application, Mosby received another $36,000, which she used toward a down payment for a vacation home in Kissimmee, Florida, that she purchased in September of 2020. The indictment also accuses Mosby of making false statements on applications for mortgages of nearly $500,000. That's $500,000, good people, for the Kissimmee home, and a nearly $430,000 mortgage for a condominium also in Longboat Key, Florida. You're talking about close to $1 million here, just about. If convicted of these charges, good people, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland, she could face up to a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison for each of the 2 counts of perjury and a maximum of 30 years for each of the 2 counts of making false mortgage applications, though actual sentences for these crimes are typically less than the maximum penalties. But you do some time unless you do get a plea deal. Now, at this time, Mosby has not entered a plea to any of the charges and has not had her initial appearance scheduled as of Thursday evening. A spokesperson for Mosby did not immediately respond to a request for comment Thursday evening. This is bad. This is bad. Now, she's denying this now. She's denying it. Now, the charge states that the city's attorney lied about experiencing financial hardships after the world shut down because of the coronavirus pandemic in 2020. Prosecutors believe she used this excuse to receive 2 early withdrawals totaling $81,000 from her 457B retirement savings to buy both homes. Okay, this woman has money just coming out everywhere. Now, according to the Baltimore Sun, they state that the early withdrawals were permitted under the Federal CARES Act for people who suffered financial hardship during the coronavirus pandemic, unquote. But they would have to show that, though. Now, according to the Department of Justice, they maintain Mosby's declarations of hardship were not true, noting the amount that I talked about earlier, where she received $10,000 raise in 2020, bumping her salary up to $247,000 in $247,000 and $955. So this woman was making some money, good money. Since the investigation started, Mosby has sold the property in one of the properties, in question at a $150,000 profit, good people. Now she's looking really suspect in my eyes. Now, according to, I do believe this is what, Ocala County, Florida, clerk of courts, she sold it for, well, this is another one, $696,000 on November 2nd, 2021. This house flipped is almost 30% more than the $545,000 sticker price she paid for it in September 2020. Okay, lady, I don't know. Resign. That's all I can say. I don't know what's going to happen, but you need to go. Now, she goes on to say, she quotes here, good people, "I am innocent, and I intend to do what I've always done since becoming state's attorney in the city I love. Fight. I will fight these charges with everything I have in me. I am built for this, and I will not be distracted from doing my job." Now, her attorney, Scott Bolden, says that this is rooted in personal, political, and racial animus. While she has not declared that she will run for another term, as I stated, she needs to step down. This news would damage a campaign for a June primary election just 5 months away, and she's not. I don't think she's going to win that. In addition to suggesting that this is a political distraction, her attorney Bolden says he accuses the DOJ, Department of Justice, of ignoring exculpatory evidence. Now, according to her attorney, his team, has provided to support his client. They've given the DOJ evidence to support. Now, we all know if convicted, if you add all those years up, it's about 70 years. But I don't think she's going to do that. But the U.S. Attorney's Office in Baltimore declined to remark on the indictment. They're not. See, they're not going to talk to you. And they do not have to. You see, because they have an indictment. Yes, it's called an indictment, which that means that there is enough evidence to take this to trial, which Mrs. Mosby should all be too familiar with. Now, good people, you should hear some of the people things they were saying about this woman. Now, I'm not saying totally throwing shade, but they're saying here's one. Every one of these state's attorneys who refuse to uphold the law and Constitution should be jailed. Another person says she is paid $248,000 annually and her husband $128,000, but they can't pay their federal taxes. Oh. How can a pandemic affect her? She's getting the same paycheck no matter what. That's what I said earlier. She experienced setbacks during the pandemic, yet she's buying a vacation home in Florida. Rough life for an oppressed person. Corruption at the highest levels, pathetic excuse of a public official. They need to pull her license to practice law and make an example out of her in the courts. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Someone quoting Proverbs 16:18. Give her the max. It goes to show that when our people get a chance, you have women like this setting us back 20 years. They trusted her because she was a yellow, whatever that means. Wow. All right, good people, let me know what you think about this story. I wish her the best, I guess. I hope it works out for her. That's about all I can say on this. That's it. So let me know what you think about this. So I'm going to keep following this case, and we'll do a follow-up and see what the outcome is. So until next time, this is your guy, Mr. Educator, Mr. Communicator, Mr. Free Thinker. Subscribe, share, and like to keep me rocking on the mic. Have a good night.
Soon it won't be long. Keep on, keep running.